Free Luigi Mangione? Will this inspire changes to healthcare? Will Democrats finally start to primary one another to get rid of the Democrats that are voting with Republicans? And will we see a Senator AOC? Let's look into all that. Welcome to Scrying Out Loud. My name is Trevor. First of all, a huge thank you to everybody who is a new subscriber, who's been subscribed, who watches the videos, who likes the videos, who comments on the videos. A big, huge thank you if you've donated to the channel through the Super Thanks, Buy Me Coffee, or Venmo. Big thank you. I did just purchase a new tarot deck, the Voyager Tarot, with some donations. So thank you. Okay, so let's look into this Free Luigi Mangione movement. So Mangione is accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. A lot of people are pitting this as, the CEO kind of stood for greed in the healthcare system. And so he's kind of a folk hero amongst a certain group. Now he's been raising a lot of money for his legal defense through donations, and there's a huge online presence. In fact, a YouGov poll found that he, like 30 some percent of people approved of what he did, which is what it is, I guess. So the question that I think we need to ask here for this channel is, will we see other movements that the Democrats can hold on to and use to instill change? So will the Democrats be able to harness this energy that's behind the Free Luigi Mangione movement? If you want a reading on Luigi Mangione, whether he be found guilty or not guilty, I have that on my other channel. I will link that in the description, and then pin the video at the end of this video. Will Democrats be able to harness the Free Luigi Mangione movement and movements like it to regain power in 2027? I don't think it's a question of can they. I think it's a question of will they. Let's see what the cards have to say. So will the Democrats use these movements? I think they're thinking about it. Things are still under the surface. Things are ready to emerge. The question I think the Democrats are asking, how can they do this and still appeal to a wide group of people? Yeah, the challenge is it's kind of like a headache to manage to group these people together and get them onto a common cause, because I think the group that's part of the Free Luigi Mangione movement is pretty diverse. I don't think they're all Democrats. I think a lot of them are independents, third party members, or maybe don't vote at all. It's I kind of doubt a lot of them are MAGA, but could be too. So the Democrats are worried about how the appearance will look. So they kind of feel trapped, and they're looking at themselves thinking, we're trapped. We can't really use this. But I think they're wrong. In the past, we had circles of support for the Democrats around healthcare, but it's in the past. I think, do voters view Democrats more favorably on healthcare? Yes. Is it enough to get their votes? Perhaps not. We do get celebrations and the voters, the Four of Wands. So it is all about the voters. In the near future, we get the Fool card. This is a good sign. This is a new start, a new beginning, maybe a new way of campaigning as well. We get the World card, the end of a cycle, like a big end of the cycle. I think this is the end of the cycle of, and maybe this is wishful thinking, but I think it's the end of the cycle for some Democrats of playing nice. I think we'll see some Democrats just not play nice anymore. We get bombshells and surprises. I think this has to do with the actual case. So you can look at the other reading if you want, but I have a feeling that there'll be lots of twists and turns along the way in this case. In the hopes and fears, we get the devil card. So this is abuse of power, which kind of speaks to, the way people view the healthcare industry. Well, the health insurance industry, I think, is a better way to say that, is they abuse their power. We get mis and disinformation from them all the time. It's almost impossible to know what's covered by your policy. And then when it's a surprise that they don't cover something, that's when it's a problem, right? I think nobody loves their healthcare or their insurance company. They might be ambivalent until they don't like them when they refuse to cover something. So, I mean, I guess I could be wrong, but that's kind of, I think, kind of the trend. Uh, the outcome is justice, though. So justice is going to prevail. Now, what that means is perhaps a question for the Democrats to ask themselves, because it seems to me that if they play their cards correctly, they could really use this to bring justice for the people that have been frauded by, turned down by, even died because of health insurance companies. And we get the Nine of Pentacles. The Democrats have everything they need to make this work. They just need to plant the seed with the Seven of Pentacles. Underneath, we have the card for the Democrats. That's good. That's kind of confirmation that universe is on the right track with this reading. And we get a new beginning around money, fundraising, and we also get heavy burdens. So, yeah. So the next question I want to look at is this going to be used to bring about issues in the 2026 election. So will insurance companies be used by Democrats in the 2026 election? And if so, will they be successful? Democrats use this in their 2026 elections, and if so, will they be successful? They're certainly going to bring up healthcare. The question is, can they tiptoe around this so that they don't look like they're siding on the side of murdering CEOs? What did the cards say on this? Here we get justice again. Because ultimately, isn't it about justice for the citizenry in the country? Shouldn't we live in a society to where we don't have to worry about whether we can afford the medical treatments that we need? The question is, do the Democrats have the strength to pull it off? or the willpower even. We get the Seven of Wands. They're worried about having to defend themselves. Again, if they do this with the Republicans and the MAGAs, just start to typecast them as, oh, you're for murdering people, which is a little ironic considering all the January 6th support that the MAGA people are doing. In the past, we have lots of anxiety about this. It's perhaps even been discussed. We get the World card, though, again, in the sky, the end of a cycle. I think this is going to be the beginning of the end of Democrats playing nice and also them getting back to talking to the people and what the people want. Uh, Maybe they should go to one of these protests outside the courtroom, that are screaming "Free Luigi," to see exactly what these people are about. Is it actually about Luigi Mangione, or is it about the injustice in the healthcare system? And I'm willing to bet it's more about the injustice in the healthcare system for a lot of people. In the near term future, we get juggling money. There's a lot on their plates, and this is just true. I mean, we have threats to democracy, we have threats to voting, we have, threats to healthcare, threats to Social Security, threats to just about everything you can think of. So, can they fit this in with everything else that they're going to be juggling? But we get victory, the Six of Wands. So, I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to at least campaign really heavily on healthcare issues. The problem is we have some spies in the camp. We'll get to that in a minute. I think there's some older Democrats that just aren't willing to go down these roads that are in leadership. And perhaps it's time for them to go. The hopes and fears is the death card. The hope is that we can start to prevent some deaths that are preventable. The fear is that unnecessary deaths will continue because of insurance companies, and in particular because of Republican policies or MAGA policies around these issues. But ultimately, it's inevitable. In 20 years, 30 years, a lot of us will be gone by then, but 20, 30, 40 years from now, I just don't think the United States and the rest of the world would stand for this kind of abuse of power that insurance companies have. It's inevitable, it's just a matter of time. The thing standing in the way is the King of Pentacles. This is the felon in the White House. Some of their deregulations, their attacks on Medicaid in particular, which is going to loosen Obamacare reimbursement policies, is going to be the problem. But ultimately, the MAGA people, they're illusioned and they're delusioned to think that the people are going to stand for this. As soon as they start changing people's health care and they start going after income streams, that's when we get this passionate leader, which will be somebody in the Democratic Party, perhaps AOC. Jasmine Crockett comes to mind too. We're going to get messages, emotional messages, stories coming forward about how people have been harmed by the felons administration, and we'll get a new beginning of sorts with the Ace of Pentacles. So I do think health insurance is going to be a big winning topic for Democrats in 2026. And I think they have a group of new voters to target with this Free Luigi Mangione movement. Okay. Should Democrats start primarying other Democrats that are voting with the Republicans? In particular, and by the time I post this video, it might have already happened, there are 10 Democrats or something like that that say they're going to vote for cloture on the continuing resolution. So would Democrats gain by primarying some of these older Democrats that are voting with Republicans? Yeah, because basically they're like the spy in the camp, right? They're not voting with the values of the party, and they're saying they're not doing it because they don't want the government to shut down. But if Republicans need their votes to keep the government open, shouldn't the Democrats get a say? And the challenge is death. You know, it's things coming to an end and a new beginning. The challenge for the old Democrats, like Chuck Schumer, for example, who I'm not passing personal judgment on him. I'm just saying the challenge for him is that there's this want to push out the old guard and want for a new guard to come forward. Underneath, we get the King of Wands, somebody very passionate and somebody very eloquent speaking to a crowd. This could be somebody like an AOC, a Pete Buttigieg, a JB Pritzker. The Ten of Cups is in the past. This is families coming together, reunions, celebrations around voting for Democrats, but it's in the past. If you look at the exit polls, Democrats lose families with children to Republicans all the time. That's a Republican constituency, families with children. But we get new partnerships forming, a new way of doing things with the Two of Cups. Yeah. Some people are very hard at work planning this because they know that it's chaos and that there's a better way forward. So that's in the near future. I think we might see some primary challenges. This might also be why we've seen some Democrats retire from the Senate as well. I mean, the senator from Minnesota, the senator from Michigan, and the senator from New Hampshire have all said they're retiring. We get the King of Swords, logic coming forward, consistency. That's what people want. They want somebody that has a position and they actually stick to it, that they don't waffle. We get forward momentum on this topic with the Chariot card. And justice has popped up in all three readings so far today. This is in the hopes and fears. The hope is that, there'll be justice for the people, that the government will serve the people, not insurance companies, that the government will serve the people, not corporations, that the government will serve the people, not oligarchs. So that's in the hopes and fears. In the outcome, we get the Queen of Wands. Again, some fiery messaging coming forward is what I'm getting. I think we're going to hear more from AOC, from Jasmine Crockett, from Alana Presley comes to mind. Um, why? Because the current situation is heartbreaking. It just is. Them passing a continuing resolution that has cuts to certain programs is heartbreaking. It's not a democratic ideal. And the up and coming Democrats do have the strength to do it. So I do think we'll see some primary challenges or more resignations, because ultimately it's about the next generation with the Ten of Pentacles. And it's about getting stability with the Four of Pentacles. And the movement by these Democrats is their Ten of Swords moment, their complete and utter downfall. And it feels like we're being stabbed in the back. This is going to lead to a lot of fighting with the Five of Wands, like internal fighting, not physical fighting. In the Democrats, this is the card for the Democrats, the King of Cups, and we get the Fool, a new beginning, one where things are more moderate and more predictable. So I think that's what we're going to see. Okay, so I had an image, and I've had this image before, of AOC being in the Senate. So let's just ask the question. Now, there is no Senate election in New York until 2028, if I read everything correctly. Will AOC primary Chuck Schumer if necessary? and become, will AOC become a senator from New York in 2028? AOC become a senator from New York in 2028. Stevie from New York. I think it's hers if she wants. In the water, I see like an old school what do you call them? Like music box, and but it's like half open. I think it's hers if she wants it. Things will come to the surface. We get the moon card. The challenge is loss. She's scared that if she loses, then she's not in the house and she has no voice. That's the concern. If she tries to primary in particular. Now, if it's an open seat, she's probably got a really good shot. She doesn't want to be left out in the cold with the Five of Pentacles. That's on her mind, being left out of a position where she can speak. But she has the truth on her side, and she always has. It's in the past, but it's continuing. That's how people, the young Democrats, see her as the next generation that's speaking the truth. She's very Bernie Sanders-esque in that sense. We get a tower moment. Something's going to come crumbling down. Something's going to dramatically change that's going to shape her decision on whether she runs. This could be, again, Chuck Schumer doing something that she doesn't like and deciding that he needs to be primaried. We get the Four of Cups in the near term future. So a lot of contemplation, a lot of thinking is going to go into this decision. We get the Nine of Swords. It's not going to be an easy decision. It's going to cause a lot of anxiety because, like I say, if she tries to primary somebody and loses, then she doesn't have a seat in the House, and then she doesn't have as big of a voice. It's a lot of internal conflict that she's going through, thinking about how to handle the Senate Democrats right now. And is there things that she can do now before the elections? And the hopes and fears, we get the Nine of Pentacles. The hope is that she has everything that she needs to do it, that fundraising wouldn't be a problem, for example. And the outcome, we get death and rebirth. It's like the Senate is born anew if she does it. She's going to win because we can get justice as well. It's like senators now finally doing what they say they're going to do on the Democratic side. And economic insecurity is going to be a big topic for her. Underneath, we get the World card, the end of a cycle. And I think this is just the end of the old guard. We get wish fulfillment with the Nine of Cups. So, yeah, I think if she runs, she'll win. It's just a question of whether she'll run. So we'll check back in on that again. Okay, I'll link the Luigi Mangione video at the end of this video in the little boxes that appear. And then I'll also put it in the description of this video. Thank you and happy weekend.